The sound of Mark Knopfler's guitar was never a shout. It was a whisper with the weight of a world behind it. His unique technique, finger-picked, melodic, precise yet unfussy, seemed to embody an approach to music that prized feeling over flash, restraint over excess. But long before the man behind Dire Straits had coaxed his red Schecter Strat into the elegant phrasing of Brothers in Arms or the twinkling groove of Sultans of Swing, Knopfler was just another teenage boy staring at a record sleeve, trying to make sense of how those sounds were made. "I grew up wanting to be in a blues band," Knopfler told Absolute Classic Rock. That was the thing. For many of his generation, born into a Britain still shaking off the dust of war and ration books, rock and roll wasn't just escapism. It was revelation. And when the blues came calling, it didn't knock gently. Born in Glasgow in 1949, Knopfler moved with his family to Newcastle at the age of 7. His upbringing in the industrial northeast of England gave him both a toughness and introspective quality that would serve him well in later years. The family was modest. His Hungarian Jewish father, Erwin, was an architect and political refugee, while his mother, Louisa, was a schoolteacher. It was his uncle Kingsley who introduced him to the guitar. Knopfler recalled with affection the moment he encountered the instrument for the first time. "He had this old Spanish guitar," he said. "He showed me a few chords, and that was it. I was away." By the time he was 15, he had acquired a Höfner Super Solid V2, a rather stiff-handling German-made electric guitar that didn't stay in tune for long, but opened up a world of possibilities. He practiced endlessly, finger-picking along to his favourite records, drawn not to the more histrionic players of the day, but to those whose playing carried subtlety and taste. "I was never into speed," he said. "I liked guitarists who could say more with fewer notes." The kitchen radio brought in sounds from across the Atlantic: blues, soul, early rock and roll. Chuck Berry caught his ear, but it was the British blues boom that truly captivated him. The guitar became his confidant, a private tutor, and a constant companion. Before founding Dire Straits in 1977 with his younger brother David, Knopfler spent years navigating the lower rungs of the music industry. After graduating from Leeds University with a degree in English and working briefly as a journalist for the Yorkshire Evening Post, he returned to Newcastle and played with various pub bands, including a country rock outfit called Brewer's Droop. "He had a journalistic eye, even in music," said one former bandmate, "always observing, always editing what he was doing down to the essence." In 1973, he moved to London and took a job as a lecturer at Loughton College, supplementing his income with session work. His time as a jobbing guitarist was formative, both creatively and technically. He became a master of adapting to different styles and learned how to serve the song rather than steal the spotlight. "I wasn't looking for solos," he said. "I was trying to be part of something." That mindset would serve him well. The economy and elegance of his playing emerged not from limitations, but from discipline. Years spent accompanying others had taught him restraint and how to make every note matter. The first of the players who shaped Knopfler's style was Eric Clapton, but it wasn't the smooth, adult contemporary Clapton of later years who made the mark. It was the scruffier, hungrier player of the Yardbirds and John Mayall's Blues Breakers. "That record," said Knopfler, referring to Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, "was like a manual. Every note had meaning. It taught you that a solo didn't have to be fast to be good, it just had to say something." Clapton's phrasing, sharp, vocal, infused with Freddie King and Otis Rush, found a direct echo in Knopfler's own approach to lead guitar. On tracks like Down to the Waterline or Single-Handed Sailor, one can hear the influence not in the notes played, but in the pauses between them. Like Clapton, Knopfler understood that space is as important as sound. Even their tones bore similarity: clear, unadorned, never drenched in effects. You plug in and you play. Knopfler once said, "You don't hide behind a pedal board. That's what I learnt from Clapton." If Clapton brought fire to the British blues scene, Peter Green brought ghostliness. His tenure with the original Fleetwood Mac produced some of the most emotionally resonant guitar playing in rock history, sorrowful, spacious, and laced with a mysticism that seemed to transcend mere technical ability. Peter Green had this beautiful thing, Knopfler said. He'd play a note and let it hang there, and you'd just be pulled in. It wasn't flashy. It was deeper than that. On songs like Albatross and Man of the World, Green's touch is feather-light yet emotionally piercing. That same sense of lyrical phrasing can be heard in Knopfler's more introspective work, particularly on Brothers in Arms, whose delicate solo mirrors Green's melodic minimalism. It's not only the style that resonated with Knopfler, but also Green's sense of integrity. He walked away when he didn't feel right about the business. Knopfler noted in one interview, "I respected that enormously." Green's influence can be heard in more than just solos. There's a sadness in Knopfler's chord voicings at times, a touch of restraint in his ballads. Like Green, he understood that emotional power wasn't about volume, it was about vulnerability. Then there was Jeff Beck, undoubtedly the most sonically adventurous of the three. Beck's playing, especially in his post-Yardbirds career, veered into jazz fusion, funk, and even electronic textures. He bent notes like no one else, using the tremolo arm not for theatrics, but for expressive shading. "I must say," Knopfler said shortly after Beck's passing, "Jeff Beck, he's a tremendous loss." While Knopfler didn't imitate Beck's flamboyance or penchant for genre hopping, there was a shared philosophy in treating the guitar as a voice. Knopfler's slide work, his subtle volume swells, his occasional use of harmonics, all bore Beck's fingerprints. One need only listen to the 1996 instrumental Going Home to hear that lineage. It's a wordless song that speaks volumes, its melody shaped by touch, by nuance, by a refusal to overstate. He was like a magician, Knopfler once said of Beck. You didn't know where the sound was coming from sometimes. It was just there, like it had always existed. In 2024, Knopfler led a new version of Going Home as a fundraising project for Teenage Cancer Trust and Teen Cancer America, assembling over 60 guitarists, Clapton among them, to record their parts. Beck's final studio recording was included posthumously, making the track a quiet tribute to the very musicians who had shaped Knopfler's path. "All of us on that record were shaped by the same ghosts," he said. "That's what we were trying to honor." While Knopfler has always been modest about his own stature, his contemporaries and successors have not. Many have cited him as a master of tone, taste, and timing, qualities not always easy to find in the rock canon. Eric Clapton, who performed with Knopfler on several occasions, once described him as a Rolls-Royce of a guitar player, everything polished, smooth, nothing wasted. David Gilmour, another guitarist famed for his economy, praised Knopfler's melodic instincts. "Mark can say more in 2 bars than most can say in a whole solo. There's elegance in his restraint." Knopfler has also been cited as an influence by a generation that grew up in the 1980s. John Mayer, who has often spoken about the importance of tone and feel in guitar playing, once called Knopfler the gold standard for how to serve a song. Even Bruce Springsteen, not primarily known as a guitarist, acknowledged Knopfler's singularity. He's one of those guys, like Robbie Robertson, who plays like he's telling a story. Perhaps what sets Knopfler apart, more than any technical hallmark, is the emotional intelligence he brings to his instrument. He once said, "You're not just playing music, you're talking to someone, you're trying to connect." It's a quality he clearly picked up from his early idols. Clapton's soulfulness, Green's melancholy, Beck's expressiveness, all combined in Knopfler's fingers to create a style at once intimate and majestic. He wasn't just influenced by those players, he conversed with them across time, answering their phrasing with his own. Even today, in his solo work, that conversation continues. You can hear it in the meditative grace of Romeo and Juliet, the dusk-lit nostalgia of Sailing to Philadelphia, the sepia-toned storytelling of Postcards from Paraguay. The teenage boy who once dreamt of joining John Mayall's band found a richer truth instead, the ability to write his own musical autobiography, one carefully chosen note at a time. When asked what remains the most important lesson from those formative heroes, Knopfler didn't hesitate. They all had a voice. That's what I wanted. Not speed, not volume, just a voice of my own.